And greetings YouTube gamers, welcome to another episode of Retro Raider. My name is Johnny Retro and welcome to the channel. So guys, today's episode is going to be a video game memories episode, and on this segment of the channel I like to talk about, video game memories. Everything video game related that brings me good memories from my childhood. Feel free to check out my other video game memories videos, and if you're new on the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss a thing. Okay, so for today's video I'm going to talk about the very first video game that I ever owned. This is a PlayStation 1, of course, because as you guys know, if you follow my channel, the PS1 was the very first console that I got. And here is the thing about when I got the PS1. When my parents got me the system, they got me pretty much when the system was released. I think it was just a couple of weeks after it was released here in Portugal. But they didn't know anything about video games, so their plan was just to give me a machine that I could play with. And back in the day, these things were expensive. I mean, they're expensive now, but they were more expensive back in the day, especially the games. So they got me the machine and they thought that it was pretty much it. They knew of course that you could buy separate games, but they thought that the machine came with a couple of games to play. But no, it didn't came with any game, it didn't came with a memory card and one controller only. So when I unpacked everything and I hooked it up, I got a demo disc that came with it. And yeah, I was a little bit disappointed of course, but it actually was a brand new concept in gaming. And I begged my parents for a game, but of course that they had already spent a couple of bucks to get me this machine. So of course that they said, well, this will have to do it for now, and maybe in a couple of months, maybe for Christmas, you'll get a game. So I played the hell out of that demo disc. So it got a couple of demos from games, about 10 different ones I think. But there was this demo on the disc, a demo that it totally got me hooked up. I'm not going to reveal the game yet, but I was totally addicted to this game. So what I did was, I asked my parents if I could save my allowance money, and maybe I could buy the game for myself. So it took me a couple of months to save the money, and you guys need to realize that I was about 7 years old at the time. And I was doing chores for my family, for my grandparents, and they would give me a coin or two. And in the meantime I was playing the demos, and also borrowing games from friends. But finally I saved enough money to buy the game. I think I was missing a little bit, but my parents covered the rest. So what was the game? What was the very first game that I got? Well, you guys see it all the time, right here behind me. Right here. The very first one. Extreme Games. So yeah, it is not a very impressive game, but it is a game that is part of my childhood, and this is actually my original copy. So what is this game all about? So this is pretty much a racing game similar to Road Rash. So Road Rash on the Mega Drive, it is a motorcycle racing game, but a cool thing about that game is that you can actually kick your opponents. This is pretty much the same concept here, but the big difference is that you actually have 4 different vehicles to choose. You have skateboarders, roller skates, BMX, and this one right here that I don't know how to say it in English. Now the cool thing about this game is that not only you could choose different vehicles, but you could choose different characters. And each character have a set of skills that determine the vehicles in which that character is good at. I still remember my favorite character of the game. It was a dude called Ralph. I think it was my favorite because it was the only one that I could play on the demo disc. Then you can earn money and buy better vehicles. And you do have a variety of different stages on this game. You go to Italy, you go to San Francisco, and on the race itself, it is total mayhem. You would also have hidden passages, hidden secrets, and you have these different colored arches on the tracks, and each archer is for a different purpose. So the yellow one is for points, the green one is for money, and the purple one is to open a secret passage. So one cool thing about these is that if on a race, if you pass through all of them, you would unlock a secret stage that has a time limit, but you can get a lot of money on that field. And the difficulty level on this game, you have pretty much 3 different difficulty levels. You have easy, medium, and hard. And the difficulty will not only influence the track itself because you have more obstacles, but the higher the difficulty, more money and points you can get. Now, the graphics of the game, the graphics are not very impressive. As a matter of fact, they were not very impressive back in the day. It is a 2.5D game with some pre-rendered graphics. It's a little bit more polished than Star Fox on the Super Nintendo, for example. But keep in mind, guys, that 3D was not still a thing. But the soundtrack of the game is really cool. It really is. Now, this game got a sequel, but unfortunately I don't have it on my collection, and I think that I never played it, to be honest with you. So yeah, this was my very first game, and the only game that I got for the next couple of months after I got my PS1. Oh, and by the way, I didn't have a memory card back in the day, So I was doing the same thing over and over again. So yeah, I was not saving my progress. Now of course that all of this is pure based on nostalgia, and it is not a terrible game, but it is also not a game that I would recommend for new PS1 owners. But this is my game, my very first game, my original copy, and it still runs. It is definitely one of the most precious items that I have in my collection. But if you want to get a copy for yourselves, it is actually a very cheap game to get. So yeah guys, this was the video of the very first game that I ever owned. But let me know about you guys, what was the very first game that you guys got? Also let me know if you knew about this game right here. Let me know on the comment section below. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to put a like on this video, please subscribe to the channel and take care of yourselves, take care of the gaming community, and game a lot.